How we doing, guys?
I think last night after the game you said that you thought that the team did some good things in all three phases. After watching the tape, was that still your overarching take off of last night's
Yeah, I
game?
think the most positive thing from the game last night was the start. I think our guys were ready to play. I thought we did some good things right at the outset of the ball game. We took the ball away from them twice. We moved the ball offensively. One of the disappointing things in the game at the outset is we had the good initial drive on offense. We bogged down a little bit. We missed the field goal. We don't cash in on that. After their turnover, we go down and we do cash that one in. That was positive. And then we get another turnover, and after that turnover, we have the big play down to the inside the 5-yard line. We throw the interception in the end zone. So if you think about those first three drives in the game, you probably want to come away with at least 13, probably 17 points there, and we only had 7. So the disappointing part at the outset is we had played well. We came out and played with the right kind of energy, the right kind of spirit, did some positive things, but we didn't cash in on it enough. And give them credit. They came right back and they responded to that early adversity and got themselves tied back up and then went ahead in the game. I thought we had a positive drive before the half. I think it was our 5th drive of the game where we went down in a 2-minute type situation and tied the game at 14. So those were good things. And now you get a chance to come out with a clean slate in the second half, 14 all, and let's go play 30 minutes of football. And obviously it wasn't good enough from there.
Did the defense get tired?
The defense didn't play well enough in the game, and the situation where we've been pretty good throughout the year that really hurt us last night was third down. Obviously, they kept converting third downs, and if you look at them, I think they were 11 out of 14, and they had some early ones, a 9, a 9, and a 9 that they converted. Now as it went on, they had some 1s and some shorter ones, but again, they had an 8 and a 10 later where they converted these longer down and distance situations. And, 11 out of 14 to keep the drives alive, to me, that challenges you. And somehow, some way, you got to get off the field. You got to make a stop. And then conversely, when you get the ball back on offense, you got to be able to stay on the field. Did a better job of that in the first half than we did in the second half. The biggest issue on offense in the second half were the minus plays. We had a penalty and a sack on each of the first 3 drives of the second half that put us in, again, those long distance situations on third down. We had a 12, a 14, a 16, I think. Those are hard to overcome before we got into that final 2-minute drive.
Dak has historically been a guy who's protected the football, but of late that's been a problem and it's becoming a trend. Is he trying to do too much, like trying to break away from the sack and which caused the fumble and force the ball to the end zone? Do you see him trying to do too much?
Yeah, he made 2 poor decisions in the game yesterday on the turnovers. One was second down. We're down in close, and there was a little bit of pressure there, and I think he saw that he thought Amari was going to kind of go over the top and eventually beat the 2 defenders, and they did a good job making a play on the ball. So if he has that one back again, you throw it out the back of the end zone, you live for third down. And then similarly on the fumble, it's 3rd and long. Doesn't come up the way you want to. He's a competitive guy. He's trying to keep the play alive. Eventually they sack him and pull the ball out. So in each of those cases, you want him to let the play die, live for a third down, punt the ball, and go to the next one. And unfortunately, he didn't make those decisions.
He said that fumble was he was just trying to do too much, and he said a similar thing on the fumble in the end zone in Washington. Do you have to guard against when an offense is struggling? A quarterback or any playmaker naturally want to try to do more to kind of spark things, and that leads to more turnovers and makes it more difficult to back up.
Absolutely, and that's the challenge that every quarterback in this league has every time they touch the ball is running the offense, making plays, but then minimizing the bad plays. And the bad plays in relation to the football are the ones that win and lose the game. And you said it, the one in Washington last week was a 3rd and long situation, 13-10 in the game, about 5 minutes to go. It's not gonna be an easy one to convert, and he tries to keep the play alive maybe a little bit longer than he should have, and the ball gets knocked out. And then similarly with the fumble in the second half in last night's ball game, same kind of a situation. So you have to learn from those experiences, make sure you take care of the ball, live for the next down, and in that particular case, you punt it, and you put your faith in the defense and try to get a score the next time you get an opportunity.
On the pick in the end zone on the throw to Cooper, in practice, was that a wide open look when you guys ran those plays? That
Yeah,
leading
they
in?
came up well in practice, yeah.
Is there, it looked like he had Hearns in the middle of the field. Is that just a play that it's bang bang? As you mentioned, just throw it out of the end zone if that's not there. Do you even have a go to your second read or whatever?
Yeah, there's absolutely a progression on that play, but I think the biggest thing is he got a little heat on the play, and he wasn't able to really see Amari come out the other side of it, and the way he was going to beat the pressure was to get the ball out of his hand. And you know, if he had time enough on that particular play, he probably would have read through it and worked to Hearns or worked his way down to the back. But in that particular case, he tried to beat it with the throw. And when you can't see it real cleanly, and you don't get a great look at it, and it's second down there, you live for the next down.
The defense has played at a pretty high and consistent level most of this season. They weren't there last night. Is that what makes the difference in a winning team and a losing team? The things seem to shift from one game to the next on what's letting you down a lot of times.
Well, again, the takeaways were really positive early on in the game. They did some really good things for us on each of their first two drives to get the ball for us and give us short field scoring opportunities. But as the game wore on, you know, Tennessee just did too good a job on third down. That really was the issue in the game. You know, if you look at them, I thought we did a good job containing their run. They were persistent running the football, but I think they rushed for less than 4 yards a carry over the course of the ball game. But consistently, they made the plays on third down to keep their drives alive. And you know, unfortunately, we couldn't get off the field, make the stop we needed to as the game wore on.
Jerry Jones, a number of players that they were shocked and blindsided by performance like that after coming off the bye and the additions you had. Did you see this coming? Were you shocked that you guys had such a woeful performance?
Well, again, the biggest issue in the ball game was not really handling the success and the adversity in the game. You know, because we got off to a good start. We did good things on offense and defense right at the outset of the game. Like I said, didn't cash in on those early drives, but a lot of positive things were happening. But then as the game wore on, didn't handle the success and keep going, didn't handle the adversity and just play through it. And, you know, unfortunately, we just, over the course of it, as a team, didn't play 60 minutes in the game. And you have to respond to success. You have to respond to adversity the right way. And that's something you try to instill in your team. It's a 60-minute game. And you have to put the good things behind you and keep going. You have to put the adversity behind you and keep going and make plays. Whatever those adversities are, they come up for every team every week. We didn't do a good enough job of that last night.
Do you wonder about job security and where things are headed for you?
I just focus on doing my job as well as I can do it every day.
Is it belief that you guys can turn this around and still be involved in this? Do you look at the big picture at a moment like this?
Absolutely. We just got to focus on what we need to do. We have to clean up the game, and we have to get our eyes on Philadelphia right now. Obviously, it's a short week. Players will come back in. We won't do a long review of this game, but we'll hit the highlights, the things we got to build on, and certainly the things we got to correct and get our eyes forward on the challenge we have Sunday night.
Is this more of a mental challenge right now or a physical challenge with where you are and how you played?
Oh, I think this league is all about the mental challenges that you face. And from week to week, handling success, handling adversity, and certainly throughout a ball game. And that's one of the things you try to instill in your team. You got to be able to handle the ups and downs of an NFL season, the ups and downs of an NFL game, and always be your best. That's what you're trying to instill in each guy individually and in your team collectively.
I don't know how hard it is to win in this league. Is your margin for error getting smaller now as you progress in your season?
Yeah, again, the biggest thing we have to do is focus on putting good days together, lock in on a good practice day tomorrow, and get ready for this challenge on Sunday night.
Troy, can I say this was the worst loss that he's seen for a team at this juncture, for a Cowboys team at this juncture? You responded and you take ownership of that? How do you?
Absolutely, we take ownership of it. Everybody takes ownership of it. Every player, every coach, every staff member has a piece of this. And we didn't get the job done last night, and we have to find a way to get the job done. And again, I think the biggest thing is handle the success and the adversity of a game, understand that it's a 60-minute game, and do the things necessary to win. I think we all know that.
What was your message to the team after the game last night?
We have to take ownership, everybody. There are no excuses, and get our eyes forward. We control our own destiny from here, but it's all about what we do, how we correct the mistakes, move forward, how we work, live in each day, strive to get better, and get ready for this challenge on Sunday night.
what, from what you've seen, gives you the belief that this team will be able to do that, improve and build on?
Yeah, I see them work each and every day. I know the kind of guys we put on this team. We have some young guys who are in different roles that we have to challenge to make sure that they are capable of handling those roles. That's part of building the team every year. And just the approach they take, the approach our coaches take, how we practice. And there have been a lot of good things up to this point, certainly not enough. But we have to build on what's good. We have to correct what the issues are and move forward. And they'll respond the right way.
What do you think was so hard to run the ball after the first quarter for you guys?
Obviously, they were paying attention to the run. They wanted to have a lot of guys around the line of scrimmage. We want to be persistent with the running game, but you also have to make some plays in the passing game. And you want to have balance. You want to attack different ways. You know, one of the things that happened in this game, just the nature of how it unfolded after that first drive, we had a couple of short drives, so not a lot of plays in that drive, and then they were on the field a lot. So we didn't have a lot of plays, a lot of opportunities really throughout the game. And we didn't do a good enough job in the second half sustaining those opportunities and giving ourselves more chances to run the ball.
Listen, is Dak supposed to see that, and can he check out of that? I mean, it seemed like a couple of times that on first down and just run blitz and then stone and zig, certainly in the third quarter a couple of times.
Yeah, obviously you have different ways to attack the defense. Sometimes you have call and run it plays. Sometimes you have plays where you're trying to get to the good side of the defense, or you have a blitz answer built in, and sometimes you just handle with the guys you have.
Again, we had 6 touches in the second half. Is that just a function of the minus plays you were talking about and just not having that many total, or do you still have to find a way to get him more in those situations?
Yeah, obviously we love him. We love getting him the ball as a runner, love getting the ball as a receiver. It's easy to see why. He's a very productive player for us. We did have 4 possessions in the second half. I think each of the first 3 were bogged down by a penalty or a sack, or something that got us in those long down and distance situations. Hard to maintain those drives. And then the 4th possession was the one we got down 2 scores, and it was more of a 2-minute mode. So obviously we want to get him the football both as a runner and as a receiver.
What were your thoughts on Amari's first game?
Thought he handled the work very well. Worked very hard to get up to speed with what we're doing offensively. He was in different parts of the formation, attacked different ways, and for the most part, really took advantage of his opportunities. Made a number of plays for us throughout the game, plays that allowed us to convert first downs, and certainly had the touchdown as well when we got down in the red zone. So did some good things.
Sean Lee's injury with the hamstring, is it looking like that's going to be another several-week thing for him to work through?
I don't want to make a determination on how long it's going to be, but we anticipate him to be out for a little bit. No question about that.
Same one he injured earlier?
I believe it is, yes.
Joe Thomas any closer to coming back?
He is getting closer, yep.
What about Randy and Jeff for this week? Where they?
Certainly hopeful on Randy. We worked him out before the game in hopes that he could play in the game. Just wasn't quite there yet, so hopefully he'll continue to make progress. And David will take day by day. He's still working through that ankle injury.
Taco Charlton in the shoulder.
Taco hurt his shoulder. We'll take his situation day by day. Don't anticipate him practicing at the outset of the week.
Is there any scenario in which you take over the offensive play calling?
Right now, Scott Linehan's going to call the plays on offense.
Is there ever, how much are you involved in that in game day as opposed, not just during the week, in terms of, hey, I want to run here, I want to pass here, I want to play action here? Do you say those things to
Yeah,
him?
I think situationally we always talk about that. Certainly at different points you say, hey, let's run it here, or hey, we still can throw it here. Certainly try to defer to Scott in terms of what the specific play call is. A lot of it's been stuff we've talked about all week long, so hopefully we're all on the same page as an offensive staff. We'll talk between series if there's something very specific that I want, but for the most part, he and the offensive staff are handling that.
Last week you made the bye week, you made the trade, you made the change with Colombo getting promoted. Are there any other changes that you guys can make? Do you consider taking Connor Williams out and moving in somebody else at left guard?
I meant to mention Connor Williams hurt his knee, and don't anticipate him practicing right at the outset, a potential scope for his knee here. So we'll give you more information on that as we go.
Would that be Suafillo would go in there for him? Is that if he's out?
We'll talk about, what all those scenarios are as we get closer.
Is Lael a potential option to move back inside, or is he a tackle in your mind?
In our minds, he's a tackle. We do have some different options that we want to discuss here as a staff here the next day or so.
Which knee for Connor?
I don't know.
Was it late in the game, or is it something that?
I don't know specifically. He obviously was able to play through it, but it showed up last night after the game and then again this morning.
What do you feel about the performance of the offensive line overall last night?
It wasn't good enough, obviously. You have to be able to play a cleaner game than that. If you look specifically play by play, there were some good things that happened, but overall there were too many minus plays. The sacks that unfolded, particularly in the second half, and the penalties hurt us. Again, contributed to getting us behind the chains and making some third downs hard to convert. So just got to keep working and trying to get better.
How do you feel about Jeff Swaim's availability for?
We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully he can do more as the week goes on.
How did Schultz do with his on the line moves?
Yeah, I mean, he's a young player. He's learning. I thought there were some positive plays for him and certainly things he's going to learn from.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. You got it.